Welcome to Sharp Predictive Models, where clarity cuts through the noise.
Imagine this. You're watching a big game, maybe a high-stakes moment, right? All eyes are on one player. And somehow, someone, somewhere, has made this incredibly precise prediction about exactly how they're going to perform, like a level of detail that just cuts through all the noise, all the guesses, and lands on something really specific. Well, today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of analytical precision. Our subject, Paul Skenes, one of baseball's most electrifying young pitchers, and we're looking at a remarkably accurate prediction about his strikeouts in a recent game. See, when Skenes faced the Toronto Blue Jays, the betting market set his strikeout line at 6.5, but a specific pregame analysis said no, look for 6 to 8 strikeouts, and it even recommended betting the over 6.5 Ks at plus 168 odds. And, well, spoiler alert, he ended up with 8 strikeouts. Nailed it.
Yeah, and what's really cool here is that this wasn't just, a lucky guess or random chance. This deep dive is all about pulling back the curtain on the analytical framework that made that kind of confident prediction possible. It's called the SHARPE method. And we're going to use this Paul Skenes case study as like a perfect real-world example of how it works.
Okay, so our mission today is basically to show you how a disciplined, kind of multifaceted approach like this SHARPE method, how it can genuinely cut through all that information overload we face and actually reveal some hidden insights. It helps you understand how experts can make pretty accurate predictions, even when things look incredibly complex or, unpredictable. We've gone through articles, research, tons of performance data on this specific game to bring this to you. So yeah, let's get started. Let's unpack this method. All right, so you mentioned the SHARPE method. Can you break that down a bit more? What exactly is it? Why is it such a game changer, as you put it?
Absolutely. So think of the SHARPE method as like your analytical compass. It's a really rigorous 6-factor checklist designed to guide your decision-making. And it works, whether you're looking at a baseball game or, honestly, something completely different. Each letter stands for something crucial. You've got S for systematic assessment, H for historical precedent, A is advanced matchups, R stands for recognition of context, P is professional money, and finally, E for execution and script.
Okay, SHARPE. Got it.
Right. And it's basically a discipline framework. It has to be falsifiable, meaning you can test if it's wrong. And it's not just about getting to one answer, one outcome. It's really about building confidence in your whole process. That's the key thing here.
Building confidence in the process. I like that. So even though this example is rooted in baseball analytics, what you're saying is the real power here is its portability. You can use it elsewhere.
Precisely, yeah. You can apply these underlying principles to, pretty much any field where you need to pull together different bits of information, spot patterns, and, make informed calls. Maybe you're analyzing financial markets or making personal health choices or just trying to figure out what's really going on in the news. Understanding how to structure your analysis helps you move past just like gut feelings or vibes and get to genuinely evidence-based insights. It's about building that solid confidence in your process, whatever the specific outcome ends up being.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let's get into the specifics of this. The Paul Skenes case study. What was the actual pregame thesis that the SHARPE method led to for that game?
Okay, so the specific call, as you mentioned, was for Skenes to get between 6 and 8 strikeouts. 6 to 8. And this wasn't just like a casual guess. It came with an 85% confidence rating, which, in terms of the method's conviction level, is considered an 8 out of 10. Pretty strong. And yeah, the recommended play associated with that was over 6.5 Ks at plus 168 odds.
Wow, 85% confidence, that's really high, especially for something like strikeouts in a baseball game where so much can happen.
Yeah.
What was the core thinking before the game? What gave the method that much conviction?
Well, it was rooted in a few main things. First, the analysis really zeroed in on Skenes' elite percentile rankings. I mean, his strikeout rate, his whiff rate, the rate hitters swing and miss, and his fastball velocity. We're talking top-tier stuff, like 87th percentile K percent, 80th percentile whiff percent, 96th percentile fastball velocity. Just pure heat and swing and miss ability.
Right. Okay, so he's basically a strikeout machine by the numbers. Yeah. But it's never just about the pitcher alone, is it? What did SHARPE uncover about the Toronto lineup that made this specific matchup seem, so favorable for Skenes?
Exactly. That's the other crucial piece. The analysis looked at the Toronto lineup and found they had this known tendency to struggle against really top-tier pitching. And beyond that, their underlying expected stats, things like expected batting average, XBA, and expected slugging, XSLG. These stats look at the quality of contact, how hard balls are hit, the launch angle to predict what should happen, and Toronto's numbers show they were actually underperforming even those expectations. which kind of hinted at specific vulnerabilities that Skenes, with his elite velocity and stuff, could really exploit.
Ah, okay. So it's Skenes' clear strength hitting Toronto's specific weakness, plus maybe some signs they were already a bit fragile.
Yeah.
Was there anything else factored in, like the game situation itself?
Oh, absolutely. Context is key, right? That's the R in SHARPE. There was an expectation of a tight game script, a close game. And in baseball, usually a competitive, close game means your starting pitcher, especially if he's your ace, stays in longer, he gets more innings, more batters faced, more chances to rack up those strikeouts. So that projected volume, the chance for him to pitch deep, was a really important part of the pre-game thinking for Skenes getting over that 6.5 number.
All right, so that lays out the meticulous pregame thesis. Pretty compelling. How did it actually hold up once the first pitch was thrown? What happened in reality?
Well, the actual result for Skenes was incredibly validating for the thesis. He recorded 7 strikeouts through just the first 5 innings, and he ultimately finished the game with 8 strikeouts in 6 innings pitched. So he cleared that over 6.5 Ks line easily, by the 5th inning, in fact, and landed perfectly within that projected 6 to 8 strikeout window.
Okay, see, this is where it gets really interesting for me, because now we can actually go back and check each of those SHARPE factors against what really happened on the field. Let's start with the first one, systematic assessment, the S. How did that initial prediction stack up?
Yeah, so the prediction for S was basically that Skenes represented this elite mismatch against Toronto, and that was based on those numbers we mentioned: 87th percentile K rate, 80th percentile whiff rate, 96th percentile fastball velocity. Big numbers. And you contrast that with the Toronto lineup, which ranked only 19th in WRC plus against top pitching staffs.
Right, and just quickly for everyone listening, WRC plus, weighted runs created plus, it's a stat that adjusts for park factors and league average.
Okay.
To tell you how good a hitter or lineup is at creating runs. 100 is average, so the 19th overall against top arms. Definitely not elite. So how did Skenes actually perform against them? Did it look like that mismatch?
Oh, absolutely. Skenes' performance completely validated it. He dominated. His fastball was averaging 99.9 mile per hour. He kept pounding the zone with a 68% strike rate. And he used that diverse pitch mix really well, mostly the four-seam fastball, 53%, but also mixing in the changeup, 16%, and the sweeper, 11%. It just kept the Toronto hitters totally off balance. The systematic assessment of his elite skills versus their struggles, it was spot on.
Okay, next up is H, historical precedent. What did the pregame analysis flag there, and did that play out as expected?
So for H, the analysis flagged Toronto's big stars, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. It noted they were underperforming compared to their expected stats. Like, Bichette's actual batting average was .297, but his expected was .307. Guerrero Jr.'s slugging percentage was .50, but his expected was .553. So the thinking was these existing patterns of underperformance might actually get worse when facing truly elite velocity like Skenes throws.
And did they?
They did. Both Guerrero Jr. and Bichette struck out against Skenes. Reports noted Guerrero looked consistently late trying to catch up to the fastball heat, and Bichette was apparently frozen by a breaking pitch for his K. So yeah, it confirmed that predicted regression, that tendency to struggle even more against premium stuff, especially given their recent history.
That's fascinating, seeing how those existing patterns can be sort of amplified in the right matchup. Okay, so let's talk about Skenes' specific arsenal. How did that factor into the advanced matchups, the A's in SHARPE? This feels like a really key piece of the why behind the prediction.
It really is. The prediction here focused on the fact that Toronto's hitters just weren't used to seeing this kind of velocity and swing and miss ability regularly. Skenes' 96th percentile velocity rate. Compare that to someone like Kevin Gossman on their own staff, who's maybe more typical. He sits around the 62nd percentile for K percent and 61st for whiff percent. Facing Skenes was going to be a massive biomechanical challenge for them, just reacting in time.
And it looked like it on the field. Toronto definitely struggled to adjust. You saw Dalton Varsho strike out twice. Even a pinch hitter, Ty France, came in and whiffed. It really showed the lineup's vulnerability. And the pitch level data backs it up, right? Like, his four-seamer got 10 whiffs on 26 swings. That's a huge 38% whiff rate. And the changeup and sweeper were even higher, 50% whiff rates each. Wow. I mean, sure, there was some hard contact, like that Addison Barger ball hit at almost 116 mile per hour road, but it didn't leave the park. Run prevention held up. That's dominance.
Exactly. Now, moving to Alzheimer, recognition of context. The pregame analysis looked at the conditions at PNC Park. Pretty neutral, 81 degrees, light 5 mile per hour wind, nothing extreme. It also considered Toronto's travel schedule. They were coming off a road trip, but fatigue seemed manageable. And crucially, that competitive game script, shown by the close betting line, Nagish 105-114, it screamed close game. All that pointed towards Skenes going deep, especially since he probably wanted a strong bounce back after a less than stellar previous outing against Milwaukee. Plus, you factor in manager Don Kelly's tendencies, he generally gives his ace a long leash.
And the reality, it lined up perfectly. The game stayed tight, 2-2 through 5 innings. That absolutely kept Skenes on the mound, just like the context suggested. He ended up throwing 96 pitches over 6 innings. So the expectation for volume was validated. Kelly trusted him in that tight spot. See, it's not just the player's skill, it's the whole environment.
Precisely. Then we get to P, professional money. This is about market analysis. The prediction noted what looked like a classic sharp versus public split. The general betting public, it seemed, was leaning towards the under 6.5 strikeouts for Skenes, but patterns in the betting market, particularly on the game total going over, suggested sharper, more informed money was maybe correlating a higher scoring game with Skenes pitching deep and racking up Ks.
And the results showed.
The results showed them fast too. Over 6.5 Ks cashed pretty early by the 5th inning, which indicates those sharp money signals were likely accurate. The public, as they sometimes say in betting, got clipped. They were on the wrong side.
Yeah, and it's even more telling. Wasn't there a reverse line move where the odds on Skenes over actually got better for bettors, moving from like plus 150 to plus 168, even though you'd think sharp money would push it down?
Exactly. That reverse move often signals strong conviction from sharp bettors against the public tide. A very interesting signal.
Okay, last factor. Ease for execution and script. What was the thinking there?
So the ease ties it all together. The pregame thesis identified that getting Skenes over 6.5 strikeouts at plus 168 odds offered significant value, especially given his elite stuff, that need for a bounce back we talked about, and the matchup against Toronto. The analysis also specifically factored in how Toronto's overall offensive production, their OPS, tends to drop when they face premium velocity because they tend to chase more pitches out of the zone.
And Skenes executed perfectly. Cleared the line early, finished with 8 Ks. It confirmed the bounce-back narrative, confirmed the matchup vulnerability, and confirmed that the initial betting line might have been mispriced. It really feels like a perfect storm where the analysis just lined up perfectly with what happened. So wrapping this case study up, what's the final verdict here? It sounds like this wasn't just a win, prediction-wise. It was more like a textbook SHARPE case study, as the analysis called it. A perfect showcase of the method.
Exactly. That's the takeaway. It reiterates that the process here perfectly matched the outcome. This wasn't just getting lucky. The analysis pointed towards a specific result for specific reasons, and those reasons played out. It felt causal. All 6 sharp fact days lined up. They all pointed in the same direction. It led to a fully validated prediction using the method, and the confidence level expressed in the framework itself because of cases like this is incredibly high noted at 90%.
And that distinction is fascinating, right? Because the analysis differentiated between outcome confidence, which might sit around 80–85% because, hey, weird stuff happens in baseball. You know, a bad call, a fluke hit, a manager pulls a pitcher early unexpectedly.
Right, the inherent chaos.
Exactly. But the confidence in the process in the SHARPE framework itself was cited as being like 95–98% airtight when applied correctly.
Yeah. It really highlights the power of having a disciplined, testable, and importantly, portable approach.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we really want to leave you, the listener, with a thought. You've just heard how this multi-layered analytical approach, the SHARPE method, cut through a lot of noise to predict a very specific outcome in a complex situation like a baseball game. That deep confidence in the process, not just hoping for the right outcome, that feels like the really powerful takeaway here.
Yeah, and it makes you think, doesn't it? What are your SHARPE factors when you're trying to understand something complex? Maybe it's financial markets, maybe it's a health decision, maybe it's just trying to make sense of the news cycle. For instance, when you read an article, how do you apply recognition of context? You know, what's the source's potential bias? What's the broader situation influencing this story? How does historical precedent apply to current events?
Exactly. We really encourage you to think about how using a more structured, evidence-based approach, but also build some real robust confidence in your own insights. It's about moving beyond just, going with your gut or relying on vibes and getting towards true reasoned analysis, kind of empowering you to understand the why, not just react to the what.
Skenes dissected. Yamamoto decoded. Lights out.